digits, he balled up in the one hand to put it high in the sky to take this one chance and put it all on the line and let it fly. I'm willing to fight for this. I'm willing to fight, man.
Odell Beckham Jr. wants to get paid. But hey, he also wants to play. The Giants wideout has been vocal about wanting a long-term, lucrative deal, but showed up to work today saying he has no interest in holding out. OBJ is set to make $1.8 million in 2017, making him the 670th highest paid player in the league. Here's OBJ earlier today.
That's what you want to do, is you want to change the game. This isn't for me. This isn't for Odell Beckham. This is for everybody in the league, people who deserve it. You know, you sit there and you watch the people in the NBA, and it's crazy. I mean, being realistic, it's crazy what they're getting. And there's people in the NFL who deserve that. And I just want to be, you know, if I can, be one of the forefront for it and help push the league, the game that way, because I feel like the players deserve it. I feel like, you know, we go through a lot. We put ourselves through a lot, mentally, physically, emotionally. And they just deserve it. You know, and the players in the league deserve it. They work hard for it. So it's not for me. This is not for me.
You're okay with just playing out this season, trying to win, and forgetting about a contract until after?
What would you suggest? What do you do? You come out, you go to work, and you play.
Well, Odell, I don't think anyone disagrees.
I don't got time. I'm 24 years old. I'm trying to play football until I can't play football anymore. I can't get caught up taking days off or not playing. I'm not here to hold out. I'm here to practice. I'm here to get better each and every day. I feel like I have stuff I can improve on, stuff I need to work on, and really stuff I'm willing to work on.
Here's JoJo with the Giants' reaction.
2 hours after practice, Giants owner John Mara addressed the media off camera. When asked for his thoughts on his wide receiver's bold statements, he somewhat laughed it off and said that Beckham Jr. deserves to be paid, he will be paid, and it will happen sooner rather than later. Now, others within the Giants organization also reacted to Beckham Jr.'s uninterrupted video with plain old indifference, saying that they become accustomed to the way in which he creates buzz and draws attention towards his social media posts, one Giants person even calling it white noise. Now, as for whether Odell Beckham Jr. will eclipse the quarterback market, which is currently set by quarterback Derek Carr at $25 million a year in new money, one person said to me that Odell Beckham Jr. shouldn't be holding his breath, while conceding that he deserves to be paid more than the top wide receiver right now in the NFL, which is Antonio Brown at $17 million average per year.
Thanks, JoJo. So OBJ wants to be the highest paid player in the NFL. Well, maybe he's playing the wrong position. Here, Antonio Brown, the highest paid wideout this season in terms of average annual pay, yet he's just the 22nd highest paid player in the NFL. 2 years ago, A.J. Green was all the way down as the 31st highest paid player overall. Calvin Johnson signed a $132 million extension with the Lions in 2012, the richest deal ever for a wide receiver. However, Megatron was among the top 10 paid players in the NFL just once. That was in 2012.
Come on, Sammy Watt.
Swing with folks arriving in style, and none more so than Antonio Brown in a vintage Rolls-Royce complete with chauffeur. Why drive when you can ride? And not to be outdone, how about James Harrison, who rolls in via a fire truck? No lights or sirens, but it got the job done. My favorite, though, Panthers rookie Curtis Samuel had his mom drop him off, as you might expect, on the first day of something new. And no word yet on whether Mama Hasselbeck is here, but the boys are back. The Hasselbeck brothers join me for the next 90 minutes on NFL Live. Gentlemen, welcome. Tim, that suits you. That's exactly what I would have chosen.
Look at our ticket. That's what they say.
Right.
It's how we arrive in style.
It's no longer in the budget.
Why are you getting pushed? I mean, come on.
He's already had
There's a weight limit for this. Excuse me, I'm parallel parking this bad boy here. I had to back up here.
Please, get out of the way.
Let's go. There you go. That's pretty good.
Hey,
I'd like to valet this, please, Aaron. Could you do that? Yes.
Ken and Barbie.
Okay. Yes. I would like to.
Tim Hasselbeck, which one are you? There he is.
I'm on here.
Yeah,
right
there you
here.
go, right there. Matt Hasselbeck, I'm Wendy Nix. We are here with you for the next 90 minutes. Well done, except for you. I don't know about the push.
Sure. Did you get driven here by Antonio Brown chauffeur?
I
Is that how you arrived?
Dropped him off and picked me up. It worked out great. You got any arrival stories of note?
You know, my best arrival story was I took a ride from Eli Manning to Albany when training camp was there.
Of course you did. Good choice.
And we stopped while we were there to get some supplies. The toilet paper in the dorm's not so great, and picked up like a big Costco-sized toilet paper thing.
Yeah.
But then I unloaded the car, and so all that was left for Eli to unload was the toilet paper. So then by the time he was unloading the toilet paper, all the media came over, and there's Eli walking with a big 24-pack of toilet paper into the dorm.
Thank you,
before
Tim
memes.
Hasselbeck.
Yes, yes.
Luckily.
Typical Tim, taking one for the
Well,
team.
I mean, just trying to help out.
It. Listen, camp now in full swing just about everywhere. We got you covered today. The Patriots, Steelers, Giants, and Texans, all places we will check in. We have live reports from each of those. But we start with the New York Giants, and there's no sense in beating around the bush. It turns out that Odell Beckham Jr. isn't interested in becoming the league's highest paid receiver. Nope. He would prefer to be the NFL's highest paid player. Here's what he said to Uninterrupted on Thursday.
It's like the elephant in the room, and you don't want to talk about it. And I've gotten to the point in my life where there's no need to not talk about it. I believe that I will be, hopefully not just the highest paid receiver in the league, but the highest paid, period.
OBJ has his sights set on big money, but consider this, the top 14 currently highest paid NFL players in terms of average annual cash value are all quarterbacks, with Derek Carr topping that list at $25 million. The highest paid wideout is the aforementioned Antonio Brown at $17 million. He ranks 22nd among all players. Beckham Jr. currently ranks 539th at $2.6 million. So clearly, I think it's fair to say he does deserve a raise. But do you believe he'll be the highest paid player in the league, Tim?
No, I don't think he'll ever be the highest paid player in the league. We just talked about the quarterbacks. They will always be. They touch the football about 60 times a game. Odell Beckham, on average, is touching the football about 6 times per game. That's not to say that he's not great, but the reality is that he may have a chance to become the highest paid wide receiver at some point. And if it times up right, that'll be the case. But he'll never be the highest paid player in the NFL.
And that's simply just not how contracts are done in the NFL. It's much like selling a house. The real estate market, it's all about comparables. And so, oftentimes they talk about people, not numbers. Okay, you want this guy's contract or that guy's contract. We're going to fit you in somewhere in the middle. So they compare quarterbacks to quarterbacks. They compare receivers to receivers, running backs to running backs. And sometimes you see guys say, hey, I don't want to be compared to just running backs like Le'Veon Bell. Hey, I want to be compared to running backs and wide receivers. And teams are like, no, nice try, but that's not how it works.
Well, listen, contracts aside, and let's not talk players, let's talk position. Is he, Odell Beckham Jr., the top receiver in the game right now?
I believe he's in the discussion, but I don't believe he's the best receiver in the game. I believe Antonio Brown is the best wide receiver in the game right now. And listen, it's not to say that Odell Beckham Jr. isn't great. He is absolutely great. I think there are parts of his game that could be more consistent, and I think that's where he can probably improve. He's one of the best, in my estimation, not the best.
He's a great player. I'm going to go with Julio Jones, though. I think Julio Jones is a game changer. I think he's the best player. If you had to pick one guy as the best, but again, it's like do you like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari? I mean,
do you like a Ken car or a Barbie car?
How about you like the one that actually turns on?
Thank you. Exactly, the ones that works.
Barbie.
It's overrated.
All right, we continue now. That was the Giants. The Steelers also in camp. They reported yesterday, held their first practice this afternoon. Not a huge surprise, but Le'Veon Bell, a no-show at camp when players were due to check in yesterday. Again, not present today when the team took the field for their first practice. Bell has yet to sign his $12 million franchise tender, and as a result, he is not subject to fines for his no-show.
Obviously, I would like him to be here. He is not, but I'm going to focus my energies on the guys that are. It's an unfortunate circumstance, one that we'll deal with, one that he'll deal with. I've had good, clean communication with him. I'll leave the nature of that conversations between us, but rest assured that he'll be ready to play football. When he gets here, I do not know. I'll remain focused on the guys that are here and their overall development. And when he gets here, he gets here.
I think the biggest thing with the football, and no matter who you are, this thing moves on without you, and it's a kind of unfortunate truth, but it is the way it is. So he's not here, we just got to go.
It's every day, every rep, every practice.
It's important, yeah, especially right now training. OTAs is one thing, but now it's when it gets serious.
Jeremy Fowler joins us from Steelers camp in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And Jeremy, of course, the two sides not able to reach an agreement before the deadline. What are the expectations now?
Well, Wendy, the Steelers regroup, formulate a plan, and just start to move on without Le'Veon Bell, hoping he comes back to them sooner than later. Now, Coach Mike Tomlin applied a little bit of pressure yesterday, saying that there could be some untold consequences, but they can't do much to Bell. They can't fine him. Maybe he could have to knock off some rust when he gets back. But I spoke with a few players privately, Wendy, and they understand the business side of things. They're thinking they're going to see Bell in mid to late August, just in time for that Indianapolis Colts game, third preseason game on August 26th. And Bell himself, he hasn't even been in Pittsburgh. He's been 1,500 miles away training in South Florida. I'm told he's eventually going to come back to Pittsburgh here soon, but that doesn't mean that he has to report. He looks ready to slow play this thing.
To be continued. Jeremy, thank you. We go now to Odell Beckham Jr., who has just stepped to the podium.
Well, it was 3 days, when we filmed it. We were in LA training, and it's just kind of goals and aspirations that I have. And Uninterrupted is a company that I am a partner with that allows you to, speak your mind, and it's called Uninterrupted because there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of that video where it's going straight, and there's a lot more information than the one piece that you took out, and that's why I really use the company Uninterrupted and why I'm happy to be a partner with it. So really, any questions you have on that, you can go watch it on Uninterrupted at Twitter, wherever you want to find it. Just make sure you find it. Other than that, it's really just something on my mind. There's a lot of other things and goals that you have that you want to accomplish, but that's just one of them.
Do you think it's a realistic goal?
It's not really up to me.
Odell, how did it feel to be back on the field today, with the new group?
It felt great. It was a little humid, but it wasn't too hot. It was a nice day, nice easy day just to get back in the swing of things. I'm looking forward to this season.
Odell, there was a lot of talk this summer, obviously, with all the NBA contracts that going out. When you talk about stuff like that, do you think about just yourself, or do you see yourself
Everybody.
making an impact for every player?
That's what you want to do, is you want to change the game. This isn't for me. This isn't for Odell Beckham. This is for everybody in the league, people who deserve it. You sit there and you watch the people in the NBA, and it's crazy. I mean, being realistic, it's crazy what they're getting. And there's people in the NFL who deserve that. And I just want to be, if I can, be one of the forefront for it and help push the league, the game that way, because I feel like the players deserve it. I feel like, we go through a lot. We put ourselves through a lot, mentally, physically, emotionally. And they just deserve it. And the players in the league deserve it. They work hard for it. So it's not for me. This is not for me.
When you say deserve it, you're talking about those amounts? Deserve. I mean, is it? I was talking to Richard Sherman, and he said that he wants to have player pay looked at in the NFL on the next CBA. So are you talking about similar to the NBA, that there should be kind of like a positionless structure where you can get a max deal regardless of what position you play?
I don't really know much about that. Like I said.
When you're saying you're fighting for the players, what is it that you're fighting for specifically with regards to pay?
It's kind of, I talked to Sherman about it, and it's just, like I said, I feel like the players in the NFL who are doing the things that they're doing should be paid more. It's just that simple. Other than that, I really don't have too many comments on contracts. I can't control that. Again, it was just a statement that was made on Uninterrupted. So if you want to check it, go to Uninterrupted. You can find it over there. It's nice.
Odell, when you were about to talk contract, like when you're filming that video, do you think to yourself, this might not be the right time, like we're going into camp?
I don't really.
To be an issue, or
don't really. It doesn't bother me at all.
Because you know how much of a lightning rod you are, how big of a player you are, how big of a star you are, and that is an
how
issue.
big of a story it's going to be if I say something. That's
You're a star.
Right.
So, does that go through your mind, like maybe I shouldn't bring this up because it'll be a distraction to like everything else going on?
Everything's a distraction that I do. So, speaking, it doesn't really matter. Anything that goes on is going to be a distraction. So, me speaking my mind about a question that was asked through a company that I work with, it's a different story. And again, other than that, this is my 4th year in the league. I don't really know about contracts. I don't know how they're done. I don't know anything about that. That's up to Mr. Reese, Mr. Mara, the Giants, my agent. So they all figure that out. I just come out here, stretch, run routes, play football, trying to be the best teammate I could be every day. And that's really all I have to say about it.
You went up to John.
That was Odell Beckham Jr. speaking to the media for the first time since he said on Thursday, too uninterrupted, that he would prefer to be the highest paid player in the league, not simply the highest paid receiver. He was just asked there in New York if this was a distraction. Is it?
No, I don't think it's a distraction other than he's obviously going to get asked about it. I think it's bad timing in the sense that he's got 2 years left on his contract for all intents and purposes because of the fifth-year option. I think kind of my takeaway from this, and I think it's probably important for people who maybe read the headline of what he said, is he seems to know very little about how the process works, how it will eventually work for him. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a glimpse into why somebody would say something that, quite honestly, it's uninformed.
Yeah, and he just hasn't been through it yet. You know, I don't know that I would have known in my first 3 years, you know, going into my fourth year, exactly how all the contract stuff works because I hadn't been through it. Here's a guy that was drafted in the first round. He's just hasn't been through it. And it was a kind of a throwaway comment, it seems like, in a longer piece that we've made such a big deal of. But I think when you are a star like he is, you probably need to realize the power of your words and the power of how you carry yourself and the impact that it has on your team. Now every single New York Giants player today, instead of talking about something about football, they're going to be talking about, well, Odell thinks players should be paid more and, you know, that kind of stuff. But I think he'll grow, he'll learn. He's obviously got a great relationship with his agent, and he trusts his agent to just, hey, you got that, and I just got football.
Yeah, well, that's true, and certainly it's time for football with Camps reporting. And speaking of time for football, John Lynch has sent this out via Twitter. He indicated that he did hope to get something done today, and in fact, he has. Solomon Thomas has signed, and there's the picture to prove it. And with that, we'll welcome in our insider, Adam Schefter, now with, again, news from several teams that are reporting to camp today. And we'll start with the Rams and defensive tackle Aaron Donald. Shefty, officially a training camp holdout?
Wendy, as of this very moment, the Rams are waiting to see whether or not Aaron Donald reports to the team today with the rest of the players. There's still uncertainty in the organization. I think there's a real sense a holdout is definitely possible here right now for Aaron Donald, one of the best defensive players in the entire game. And if the Rams don't have him, that would not be the way that Wade Phillips and Sean McVay want to start their regimes in L.A. with the Rams, but it could be that way. In Tennessee, Marcus Mariota has reported to camp. He is coming off the fractured fibula. His weight is down to 218 pounds, despite the fact that Titans coaches wanted him to be closer to 225, 230. He believes he'll be quicker. Obviously, that injury last year factored into his decision to lose some weight, but Mariota, surrounded by Eric Decker and unsigned first-round draft pick Corey Davis, looks primed to have another good year for the Tennessee Titans. As for the Oakland Raiders and their first-round draft pick Garyon Conley, he remains unsigned, but it's not difficult to get that deal done. The Raiders are waiting to sign him. They're waiting clarity from the legal situation that surrounded Garyon Conley before the draft into the accusations of sexual assault. Again, there has not been a decision made as of yet about whether or not he'll be charged or arrested. The Raiders are waiting, but they do think, and they are optimistic, that he will be available, that he will be absolved eventually, and that Garyon Conley will be joining the Raiders as they go to training camp. And, of course, a couple of other moves to point out to you today, Wendy. The Seattle Seahawks today signed former Eagles first-round draft pick Marcus Smith. Now they can match Marcus Smith with another failed first-round draft pick from the Miami Dolphins, Deion Jordan, who they also signed. So two former first-round draft picks looking to make an impact in Seattle.
Adam Schefter, thank you. And speaking of the Raiders, they've traded in the gridiron for the hardcore. ESPN's Sammy Alapur caught up with members of the Silver and Black to talk about the upcoming season. And later, botched kicks, showboating gone wrong, and, of course, the ultimate butt fumble. We take a look at some of the most embarrassing moments from the NFL. And still to come, Jim Trotter visited Jerry's World for an all-access look into the life of Jerry Jones. NFL Live continues after this.
You don't all the time find cooking talent. But when it's hot, burn the roof of their mouth with it. When it's supposed to be cold, burning the roof of their mouth like hot ice.